Hey everybody, it's Amanda. I'm back with the cash wallet situation video. What the heck are we doing for the rest of the year? How is this going to work out? How are we going to reset the new year in 2026 off on a good foot? What is our future going to look like? Some questions I've got recently are pertaining to this. When are you going to do a weekly cash stuffing again, where you stuff your wallet and your husband's wallet? How does he feel about it? Why haven't you been consistent with it? I get a lot of, when are you moving? How can you afford to move? How are you going to do all this? What is some things that, you're trying to accomplish in that regard? There will be a big Q&A video where we talk about all these things. However, I wanted to go over the weekly cash stuffing. I also wanted to and I don't know how members are going to feel about this because I haven't asked, but I'm sure they don't mind. Members and I kind of had to take a break on this, but we have been working on something huge, and that involves us doing savings challenges over there for the time being. Now, we did have to take the break because the van broke down and we are in the current process of getting it fixed. I'm hoping to get a phone call today, by the end of the day, about the van, saying that my neighbor has the radiator installed. We did utilize some of our money from our emergency fund, which I can show you that here. So we have our high priority binder. All these stickers came from Comic-Con. I'm going to do something so fun with these. These are so cute. Look at my little calcifer. I also got a Baymax. I also got tons, little gizmo, tons of Sailor Moon ones. Howl's Moving Castle is where the name calcifer came from. They're all so cute. These were only $1 at Comic-Con, and if you bought so many, they were even cheaper. Here's Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. I'm like, how did I forget that? So, during payday, we will always put $5 into this envelope just because we're saving, just because. I know. It's just a habit. Some people like to put 20 bucks away. I can only afford 5. I tried 20, but it just wasn't working. We need to rework on our buffer. We have some money in our emergency fund left. We have no car maintenance money. We have no house repair money. We have no Christmas money. We have $100 in medical. And our last debt payment was 8 of 25 for $227. So, the emergency fund that we had in here, this is where people are like, where did you get the money to get the repair done? Well, we just had hit $500 in our emergency fund. So, now, after the repair and giving my neighbor some money for his time, because his time is valuable as well, and he is a mechanic, so he deserves to have a little money for labor, which he's very sweet. Probably would have done it for cheaper, but I still say radiator for $300 is better than the $800 that I was quoted at the shop, and that was starting at that point. I was like, oh, $800 starting. So if that meant that they found anything else that needed to be replaced, it would have been more added on to that. So now we have a total of $200 in our emergency fund, which makes me fairly nervous as we go into winter, but that's okay. It is what it is. We are in the process of working on some things. And now that we know that the emergency fund is one of our main things to work on besides a buffer, car maintenance, house repairs, Christmas, medical, and debt, we have some work to do. We have lots of work to do. Okay? So, you've seen that. Now you know where I got the repair money from the emergency fund. Let's talk about these little cash wallets that I have. I have a pink one. My husband has the black one. They have categories, little envelopes you can open, and all the different things. So, my husband does drive to work. He does work for family about an hour or so away. It's quite a drive, especially with gas being $3.99 a gallon. So I urged him, and he urged himself to really try to find a job in town. But the average paying job in town is anywhere between $14 and $15 an hour. I do know that some local grocery stores do pay $13.70 an hour. I know, it's not a lot. When you live in the state of Oregon, if you're on the West Coast, you know how expensive it is. It is what it is. But we did go over our monthly budget. I made that video before this video was released. You can go check it out and see how we got the numbers. But we are adding in some money towards this every single week from DoorDash. And the reason I'm doing a small amount rather than saying, Amanda, you need to make $200 on DoorDash a week is because number one, it's slow on DoorDash. Two, 30 some odd dollars is very, very reasonable. And if I have a busy week and I'm exhausted, and because I'm in training for a new job at a vet clinic, and I'm starting at the bottom, I'm a kennel gal and I do reception, I need to make that my first priority. Also, something I wanted to mention, because I forgot to mention this in the previous video, is that I did end up going to the Dollar Tree before the van situation even happened. I had to take the plastic off, sorry. I did get big things starting small. I got a monthly calendar. I figured we could try this. I have no idea what got on the corner. I figured we can try this and see how it works. I do like it because of the fact that it does prop itself up. Supposedly, I didn't really try it. Ta-da! Oh yeah, that works great. So each day I can cross off. I can write our payday on here. We can write when bills are due on here. That way we know what is what. And I don't have to have a big herky calendar. I don't have to have a big happy planner, which I love happy planner. But this is nice. And I can hand it to my husband and be like, this is the... And he'll know instead of having to go through all my notes and whatnot. I also got this Waterfalls 2-year little planner. Now these were $1.50, quarter more than, but they have the pretty little waterfalls in there. Someone said that there was cat ones. I didn't see any cat ones. I actually know this sounds crazy. I love animals. I have an animal in the book I'm reading, but I don't love books about animals, and I don't really like stuff with animals on it. I don't mind doing cute challenges or whatnot with it, savings challenges, but I don't need my whole life to be about animals per se. Love them. Oh, and this has all the holidays in it. That's kind of nice. Okay. So we'll be using these throughout next year. This is more for personal. When do I go to the doctor? When do I not go to the doctor? When do I see my specialist? All the different things. So, when it comes to cash stuffing, I said we have $169 for the weekly cash budget. Now, something I'm going to also try to do, because this is kind of really important, I want to keep doing Save Day Sunday with you guys, where on Sundays, which I have a whole playlist, you can go back through and watch me play savings challenges and fun games to just make savings fun. It's not really a requirement, but if I didn't have Save Day Sunday, I'd want $25 to put into savings anyway. So it's just a fun way to save. Members only. Someone got their feelings hurt because they thought I was only doing budgeting videos through members. That is not the case. So members will get their own separate video with their own things that we're working on, and then I usually surprise everybody at the end when it's finished. So let's talk about our budget. Groceries. I have decided to up the ante, and we're going to do $45 a week in groceries because groceries have not gone down in my area. So my categories look different from Jordan's because we don't buy the same things. And I do most of the grocery shopping. However, if I send him with a list, he is fairly budget friendly. He's always looking for a deal. I've taught him well. And he even mentioned he's getting cheaper and cheaper by the day, which is funny. I'm like, it's called frugal, honey. It's frugal. But then there's fuel for both of us. Now, he is going to be doing most of the driving to outer city area on his way into the main part of a smaller city is where he will be working. He's not nearly driving as far because the further you drive, the less you make, right? It's kind of how that goes. So we'll come back to the fuel in a minute. And somebody asked me, if you only have one car right now, why do you both have fuel money? The truth is because if I'm out DoorDashing and I use some of Jordan's fuel that he uses to get to town and the family uses during the week, I need to replenish it with DoorDash fuel money. Or if I want to go do something or go to church or something of that sort, I want to have fuel money. And no one loves to go to the gas station, open up their wallet and say, oh my gosh, I don't have any money for gas. That's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. So that's why we both have a fuel envelope, because you never know who's driving in that moment. Now, obviously, if I didn't have any fuel money left, I would remind myself he needs to get gas, and I will let him know. And we've been pretty consistent about that specifically. Family is mostly for the kids and for family time or family events or going out to the movies, whatever we want to do. Household is for household supplies, pet supplies for pet supplies, hobbies. We both have hobbies in here. We don't usually spend money on ourselves fairly often. Jordan gets a lot of his hobbies for free from a friend who's also doing hobbies and has extras or ordered extras or accidentally got 2 of one thing or had already built something similar to that. So now he doesn't want to build this and became less interested in that and so on and so forth. But I do read books. I do try to go to the library, but I also like owning books because then I can share my books with friends. And then they share their books with me. And then when they're done, they give me the book back. I also like to read books over again. I do have quite the array of budgeting books. I have, let's see here. I have the $100 Startup, Possum Living. I do have lots of Dave Ramsey books. I also have another book somewhere else that talks about, it's called Nickeled and Dimed, and that's actually something that I have kind of bedabbled in a little bit here and there. I also read audiobooks, but my aunt gets a subscription for 2 credits a month towards something that she got from somewhere else. I don't know where it came from. but she's been gifting me those credits, so I get to read free audiobooks or use the one online for the library. Personal is just that, personal money, and oh shit is like a little tiny emergency fund. So, we're going to go on to household. Household, because we're going to skip over the, so 165, or wow, Amanda, come on, 169 minus 45 for the groceries. I'm going to go ahead and give us $10 a week for household, and that's for any household products, so minus 10. And there may be a week I don't use this, and I'm going to keep it in there like a sinking fund, and we just build that money up until I need to use it. Pet supplies, we're going to go ahead and do 12 on this one, so minus 12. I know it's a weird number, but that's how I came up with it, and it's worked. It has worked. But see how that goes fast? We're at $102. So now we're going to go over to Jordan's side. I'm going to go ahead and give him $10 for food. This is only if he needs it. If he does not need it, we will roll it into another sinking fund. Same with groceries. If we don't spend this whole amount, we'll roll it into a sinking fund. We'll go over that in a moment. He also said that another mandatory is going to be $8 for date night, because having a healthy relationship is very important to us, and spending time together, even if it means that it's renting a movie at home or saving to go out to $5 movie night, which is in our local town. The other thing that we like to do, since we can't dine out very often because he is gluten-free and, you know, no one wants to get poisoned by wheat, we do tend to go to a pretty friendly, gluten-free friendly, soft service. I think it's frozen yogurt is what it is, truthfully. And they have a, is it Tuesday or Wednesday that they have a deal, Jord? You can't hear me. I think Tuesday or Wednesdays they have a deal where you get their cup of ice cream for $6, and you can put whatever toppings on there, up to a certain weight. So we like to do that sometimes. And we just found out about that little ordeal deal day that they have through their website. He does get sodies every now and again, or sodas. We got the word sodies from 1,000 Pound Sisters. So I think I lost where I was. That's okay. We'll start over, because this is not perfect, and it does not have to be. Minus 10, minus 12, minus 10, minus 8. So $84. So he does try to get something to drink on the way to work. Mind you, we don't work in food any longer, so we don't have access to free sodas. Now we're going to go back up to food, because all these others are just spending money, essentially. We hit all the basics. Now we're going to go to fuel, which I'm going to give him $60 a week. I know, that's a lot. And I'm going to give myself $10 minus $10 for the overall fuel that I start with for DoorDash. So how I work it out, if I make $50 using this $10 on DoorDash, I then take 10 away from the $50, so I really only made $40, and I will put $10 back into my fuel envelope. That way I'm recycling the same $10. Now this is the key that's always kind of been the problem, and this is where we might have to up the ante because I realized that this is not going to work. And that is okay, because this is why we're doing this in general. Why can't I find my whiteout? Alright, I'm gonna have to get a sticky note from my favorite sticky note thingy that I received from somebody. So we might have to change this, because $169 a week just seems like not a lot. So let's sticky note over this, and we'll add some things. So I'm actually going to change this to 15, because that's what I had written down. So minus 5 is 4. Family is going to get $5. And then personal will get $5 for the... Everybody gets $5, so that's $15, so minus 15. See, it wasn't quite enough. And we'll give hobbies each a 5. And oh shit, we'll get a 5. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. So minus 20. So $31 over the budget, what I wanted it to be. But that's okay, because we have $133.61 that we budgeted for our monthly income, from our monthly income. And I said plus DoorDash minimum. So let's put, I'll write it, I need another little sticky note. I love this thing, by the way. This is amazing. Amazon. So we were over $31 from the $169. So $169 minus $133.61. So I said that I would need to make $36 a week on DoorDash, which honestly could be pretty doable. Pretty doable. I think 50 is honestly very, very reasonable. I feel like that's like a drop in the bucket. Not very much. So we need to now do $169 plus $31 is $200 a week instead. So let's cross that out. Since we can't find our whiteout, imagine that. So $200 a week. So minus $133.61 from our budget. So I would need to make $66.39 on DoorDash, which is rounding up to be about $70 a week, which still can be fairly doable. Now, the members only Save Day Sunday will have to be achieved as well if I want to do those within that week. This is completely separate from what has to be budgeted for. Now, obviously, hobbies is not something I have to budget for, so if I had to cut it back, I would. But I don't necessarily need to. And I really do think $66.39 could be made on DoorDash a week. Okay? So this is our weekly cash money that we can work with. $200 we're stuffing a week into these categories. I think it's doable. So when we get to the cash stuffing part, we would just cash stuff these little envelopes. Going on to things that we're going to be working on in 2026. So you guys know now that I am working on some savings challenges. We'll go back to it once we know we have the running vehicle. Everything's going fairly well. we get the vehicle back, we're driving it to the city and back and whatnot and doing our normal life, we will be talking about sinking funds as well. So members were working on emergencies, and the main, I call them mandatory high priority sinking funds. Whoop, my stickers just flew all over the floor. Of course they did. So these are all mandatory, except for the $5 ones, really not. This is if I can do it, you know. So all these are mandatory sinking funds. A sinking fund is where you're going to sink money into a fund every single week. It could be daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And then you have money to utilize in that category. Some people do it for vacation. Some people do it for a new car. Some people are saving for a home that way, so on and so forth. So I thought to myself, I need to really sit down with my husband and figure out what categories we want to sink funds into. This is always a mandatory. We will always need a buffer. We'll always need a emergency fund. We'll always need car maintenance. We're always going to need house repairs, no matter where we live at this point. Obviously, we're living in this house where we own the home, but we don't own the land. So we do have to pay lot rent and utilities, but the repairs are on us. And then, of course, we have Christmas, which is going to be put somewhere else. Medical, which is something that we just have to keep working on in case, you know, we have some icky, sicky things going on, or medications, so on and so forth. But there's other sinking funds that I needed to talk about, and I feel like it's very, very important. So you guys know the mandatory ones here. This is what we would sink into those funds every single week. And they're very low. Under $5 is what I was looking for. I'm going to zoom in on this. And I've done this in the past, and this has actually worked out fairly well for me, especially when holidays would come around. So I call this my one-hit wonders. This is going to happen one time a year. Birthdays only happen once a year. Everybody has one. We've got little Jay. He's my 14-year-old, my 10-year-old little piggy. We also have gifts and postage, because I have gifts for my friends that I'd love to send. But unfortunately, because I didn't budget it out and I don't have any extra money left over, I can't really ever send anything. So that sucks. And I know stamps aren't that much, but when you don't have it, you don't have it. So gifts and postage is another one. Thanksgiving, anniversary, Christmas, travel, because we do plan on going to Comic-Con 2026, where I do hope to plan, I'm saying this out loud as I can to the universe. Dear universe, I'd love to meet Sean Astin. Please, please, please. Please, please. Thank you. Okay? So, travel is in there. The other reason I put travel in there is because we have 10 months until we can really start sitting down thinking about our plans to move and all the different things, which I'll get into in another video. Very important things. So travel, some of traveling is going to the place you want to possibly live. You want to scope it out. Go talk to people. Go see what it's like. Spend a couple of days there. Get on a plane. You got to do what you got to do and go do your self-funded independent research of where you might want to go. And that's scary for me, but at the same time, with my travel anxiety, I need to get the heck over it, build a bridge. I've had some traumatic experiences traveling throughout my childhood and as I became an adult, so I need to really start working on that. That is a goal of mine, to be able to travel with less anxiety. And some of that's having a little money put away. So if I want to go, I can go. $5 is not a lot. That's only $260 a year. This is our yearly beside everything. And we have graduation of 2029. I cannot believe that. My 14-year-old is going to be an adult in less than 4 years. Oh my gosh, I almost can't believe that. That almost feels surreal, seeing this number. I'm like, really, little Jay? Really? He's almost old enough to have a permit. He's not going to drive anytime soon. He is not responsible enough for that. Love you dearly, son, but you know. So he'll start getting $1 a week. Same with little Piggy. As their graduations get sooner or closer to that year, I will start adding more in. They'll get the equal amount of money. I don't have favorites. I'm not a favoritism person, so each child will get an allotted amount of money. They will go into a high yield savings account at the end of the year, along with part of our emergency fund. Medical will get a high yield bucket as well, and so on and so forth for some of these other categories that need it. So these are one-hit wonders. They're one-time things. Spend it, save it is the other one. This is something new. This is where the rollover money comes into play. Any extra money from groceries, food, and sodas, and I'll make a chart because, I'm very due diligent about that, will go into some of these other categories. Let's say we have $2 left in family after the end of the month, and, they got their allotted $20 a month because 5 times 4 is $20. Let's say that they each got a couple dollars left. Well, little Jay's going to get a couple bucks. Little Piggy will get a couple bucks. And they'll also get $1 a week. That'll become their money. They can do whatever the heck they want with it. Pets will get $1. But if I have anything left over in pets, it will go into this envelope, which will also get $1 a week. I don't know, $4 a month is not that much. But savings is savings, and when you're on a low income, you're doing the best you can with what you got, and darn it if you can save $1. Let's do the thing. Okay, so Costco would be in the food categories. Dollar Tree will get $1. Anything left over from, let's say, household, if I didn't use it, could go into Dollar Tree or thrifting or Amazon and online. Personal, same thing. Maybe we want to save for something like a larger purchase from Amazon or something online. Thrifting is something that I wanted. I am not going to lie to you. I do a lot of working between my regular job, DoorDashing, all the gig working stuff, and YouTube. Your girl needs a thrifting $1 a week. I know it's not a lot, but sometimes I can even go to a thrift store. I can go to a thrift store and I can get box deals where you get one box, you roll your clothes, you put them in the box, you try to stuff as many as you can in there because realistically they're just trying to get rid of the clothes. And sometimes I find some pretty decent name brand or very high quality or good valued items. I like to do that. I also like to thrift shoes. I also like to, I want to get some dresses. I really want to get some dresses. I know that sounds strange because I look like, somebody said I look like I'm a camper. I'm like, thanks, I guess. I'm an Oregonian. I'm a jeans, t-shirt, flannel, tennis shoes, boots kind of gal, but we'll call it hiker chick. But I do like dressing up. I want to be able to just freely have some money to spend during yard sale season, so that kind of goes into the thrifting category. So these are the sinking funds for next year. We got our wallet that we're going to work on, and you guys know I'm working on things with some members, which I'm pretty darn proud of. To be really honest with you, I'm pretty darn proud of this, even though it's mostly ones. This is what we've been working on, you guys, for literal months. I have been working on stuff. I'm so excited. You have no idea. You have no idea. So, as always, you can only do what you can with what you got because it's all you have to work with. This is how I budget. You don't have to budget this way. You don't have to like it. You can think that this is the complete incorrect way to do it. There's tons of people who budget on YouTube land. It's called cash stuffing. People do savings challenges. This is real budgeting. Real life. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.